Hello indie game fans, if you've been watching the E3 presentation so far, I think that to date, Jeff Keighley's Summer Games Fest kickoff was the best, capped off with a gameplay trailer for Elden Ring, but where we did also get a great number of fantastic indie games to look forward to. It was kind of adjoined to the Day of the Devs stream, which was a fantastic presentation as well, so here are 13 of my picks to look forward to. Let's begin with Metal Slug Tactics, a not so indie title given the IP, hence it doesn't count among the 13 games, but given that I loved those games back in the day, it was a no-brainer title for me. Most interestingly, they have made this into a full-on tactics game from its run-and-gun roots, following a similar transition for the Gears of War franchise, and as a tactics game fan, of course I want to see more like this. One thing that stood out to me is the pixel art of this game, continuing a storied tradition for this franchise, and if you know me, I simply cannot say no when a game looks as gorgeous as this. The nostalgia is strong with this one, with returning characters, enemies and even sound effects, where the animated portions of this trailer are a sight to behold as well. Interestingly, Wikipedia has the last Metal Slug title listed as being released in 2009, so it has taken a 12-year hiatus, but publisher .emu has a fantastic track record with the Wonder Boy and Streets of Rage series, so I do have trust in them. A very interesting curiosity is Soup Pot, a no-stakes cooking simulator that encourages you to experiment with and enjoy cooking, where I do love the little song in this trailer as well. If you enjoy narrative titles, one of the most intriguing prospects out there is Route 96, which is, get this, a procedurally generated experience with supposedly 148,268 possible iterations.
And don't travel with someone you don't know. We love you.
You play as a runaway in 1996, attempting to hitchhike your way to the border in order to flee an authoritarian regime, mixing the romanticism of a road trip with something much more sinister. From the clip shown off during Day of the Devs, it does look absolutely insane in potential and scope, where if it manages to reach even a fraction of the possible iterations mentioned earlier, could be something really special indeed, where this clever little trailer coming up does show off some of these.
Hey, it's me, Alex. I'm okay. I met this girl, this boy, loser, at the diner, at the gas station, in the mountains. They were hitchhiking, driving. They were escaping to the border. Looking for someone called Zoe, John, Jared, Sonia. And running from the police, running from some bad guys. They helped me, played games with me. They stole my money. And they made me realize that I have to come back home. I have to make my own way to help the brigades. Where am I? Road 13, Road 42, Road 67, Road 96.
Another long in development title finally gets a release date in Sable, one that caught the eye of many during E3 2018, so it certainly has been a while. It's a gorgeous title where you play as the titular character going through a rite of passage known as the Gliding, having you traversing through and exploring vast deserts, ancient abandoned structures, and perhaps even some areas which are alien in origin. Exploration is central to all games, which appears to be done well here, so I cannot wait to get lost in this world.
Hello? Nessa! Liu! Lance! Get on! Thanks. No problem. Stick together and let's do this.
It seems as though the 4-player co-op horde shooter is making a comeback, where among the bigger titles like Back 4 Blood, the Anacrusis kind of counts as indie, coming to us from a veteran team who reformed as a new studio, where you might be interested to know that there are some ex-Left 4 Dead developers as a part of this group. Obviously, this is aliens instead of zombies and a retro-futuristic setting instead of the modern day, but I do think that most of the same gameplay elements apply here, even down to having the tank equivalent enemy in this, but I do have great memories of the co-op shooter, so I am curious about this.
Heavy. Really? We call them tanks.
I call them brutes. From Latin, brutus.
We'd sound smart calling them brutes.
Gion, you don't want to get in here and help name these?
Nah, I'm good. Brute!
Axiom Verge 2 is another no-brainer pick, the sequel to a beloved Metroidvania title, but the sequel does look to change almost everything up to the extent that it's unrecognizable from the original. In the Day of the Dev stream, some interesting points mentioned is that this is more melee focused and that certain boss fights are optional, so colour me intrigued. Behind the Frame is another beautifully done title, where it's overdone but the Ghibli-like comparison has to be made, where you play as an aspiring painter, and of course, an emotional experience awaits with this. Another new title that caught my eye is TOEM, an adventure photography game which seems super unique. Yes, while the photography game has been making somewhat of a comeback with titles like New Pokemon Snap and Umurangi Generation, the action-adventure game perspective is something different as compared to first person, where the world and characters in this are absolutely adorable. As expected, you're adventuring through the world, snapping shots while listening to chill beats, helping the various characters with their problems by supplying the appropriate photo. I like how you can stop and zoom in on minuscule details like ants or bugs, so a very impressive package overall. Moonglow Bay has been featured in my recent video on cozy games, so it's no wonder that it appears once again, being a life sim title with a focus on fishing rather than farming as the central mechanic.
Well, Guppy, you did it. Your first catch. 40 years, and you still surprise me. I know this place seems strange. A fishing town afraid to fish. But that's why our new venture might just stay afloat. Because all those stories about the mystical monsters of Moonglow are exactly that. Stories. This bay is full of amazing new creatures waiting to be discovered.
It tells a story of a fishing town where people are afraid to fish, so uncover the mystery and restore the community in this wonderful little title. I absolutely love fishing mechanics in games, so it's a no-brainer pick for me.
As long as this book is by your side. So am I. Welcome home.
Like Moonglow Bay, Garden Story is another cozy title that I've been looking forward to, where it got a brand new trailer which shows off the variety in this game. Play as a little grape, designated as the Guardian of the Grove, having to fend off the rot while restoring the island and its gardens to their former glory. It's super cute despite the combat element, and did also get an updated release window of summer 2021, so we should see this being released within the next 3 months or so, but stay tuned and I'll let you know when it does. I covered the Kickstarter campaign for the awesome rhythm game Unbeatable, which oozes all sorts of style, where you got a quick introduction to the developers in the stream, so seek it out for some awesome content, but check out this explainer.
Alright, so the pink-haired girl with the microphone in the middle of the screen is Beat, and she is you, and you only have to worry about 2 buttons, up and down. On either side of the screen, enemies and obstacles will advance in high and low rows. When they touch the lines on either side of Beat, you hit up or down accordingly, and Beat will hit them hard. This is Unbeatable, a game where music is illegal and you do crimes. And this is how it looks in action. Drill. Sometimes enemies come at the same time in both lanes. Sometimes enemies need more than 1 hit. Sometimes they need a whole bunch of hits. And sometimes you need to hold down 1 button while hitting the other button sporadically and paying attention to other nodes that disappear before you can even get your bearings. That's just how these things go. And if you can't keep up, Beat can't keep up. And if she can't keep up, she gets hurt. And if she gets hurt, well, let's not focus on that. We're getting too in the weeds here anyway, because that's only half the game. See, when Beat's not doing all of that, she'll be exploring an open cityscape with an active day-night cycle, uncovering secrets, playing mini-games, talking to and helping out or not helping out the locals, and rehearsing with her band for the set list you'll be building out of the game's 100% original soundtrack.
Every time I open up this book of mine, I always find the dark out there. There's a light we share.
A title that absolutely made a splash is Planet of Lana, one of the most stunningly beautiful titles ever, being a cinematic puzzle platformer not unlike Limbo, but it's an epic sci-fi saga that stretches across centuries and galaxies. How this ties into our main character, I don't know, but for how gorgeous it is, this definitely gets on my watch list. Another title just covered is the action roguelite Loot River, described by the developer as what if Diablo and Tetris had a baby, so of course you know I'm in. I mentioned this in my recent video covering upcoming pixel art roguelite titles which I've linked above, where this developer has been showing off gameplay and more in various presentations and showcases, so if you're curious, I would seek those out for more information. The biggest indie game to come out of these two events has to be Salt and Sacrifice, the sequel to indie darling Salt and Sanctuary from 2016, which to date has been the best example of a 2D Souls-like. If you're not down with the visuals in the original, the sequel does look to have updated parts of that, although it isn't exactly the most beautiful game, but given the ample Souls-like pedigree of the developer, I have full confidence that this will be awesome. Play as a marked Inquisitor who is a branded criminal spared execution in exchange for a lifetime of servitude, hunting down mages, which are twisted creatures in this world. From a post on the PlayStation blog, the developers cite online co-op as one of the main features, as well as multi-stage boss fights, where you're pursuing a boss through an area and she summons monsters, gets into fights with other mages, and then, finally cornered in her lair, you go in for the final confrontation. So it does seem to be a little bit like Monster Hunter in parts. As the sequel to one of the all-time greats, this takes the #1 spot. For more upcoming Souls-like indie games, check out this video and I will see you after the jump.